Hello Capricorn, welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. If Capricorn is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your tarot card reading. Remember to hit the like button, leave a comment, consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. If there is anything you would like me to pray over, or meditate upon, or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, this is going to be a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger. And I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I might provide. And remember, Capricorn, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And we have an Eight of Wands that just could not wait to get out of the pack. So that is kind of this bursting creative energy that we feel, right? I think that maybe this is the universe saying, it's time to just go, just do it, right? Press play on whatever this energy is and let it go forth from you. Now, we've got to put this into some context, obviously. This is sometimes a card of anxiety. Sometimes this is a card of having too many choices, right? Or having this kind of burst of creative energy that fizzles out quickly. So what we need here is some sustenance. We need something to feed the fire here, right? What we don't need is doubts. What we don't need is too much analysis, right? And I think that's the problem right now for you, is that you have all this creative energy, but there's something going on in your mind that it's just either we're planning too much, you know? Here's the Justice card. Here's the Ace of Cups. Very, look at that. And an Ace of Swords, see? And the Emperor energy. So we just need to kind of, we need to just take command and just be like, I'm done worrying about things. I'm done trying to plan every little detail. I'm done checking and rechecking everything. You know, how many times can you go through your pre-flight checklist before it's just time to fly, you know? Nine of Pentacles, Five of Wands. Yes, we're doing something with this fire energy. Empress and a Six of Wands. Very good fire energy today, and it's all controlled by this Emperor. Now, we've got the Empress. Now, we've got both of these cards together, and I think it's a balance between having this driving force, this executive function that is kind of commanding our spirit, our being, you know. There's this the executive function here, and then there's of course the Empress, which is kind of the yielding, the allowing the situation to develop as it needs to, right? So there's this balance that we need between assertiveness, striving, right, and yielding, letting things happen. We make an effort, we put our energy into something, and then we have to step back and let it grow, let it, you know, do its thing, let it respond. Right? It's kind of like someone that just keeps talking to you, talking, asking you a bunch of questions, but never giving you time to answer the questions. It's frustrating, right? So we have both of these. We have the Emperor and the Empress, and that is really the mystical marriage of forces that is allowing this to really, I think, really flourish. This is excellent energy here, especially with the aces of the heart and the mind, right? We have peace in our heart, clarity in our minds, and that leads us to a real balance of our energies here. And the main thing really is to just, you know, eventually we've got to hit play. And what I kind of am seeing or sensing with these two, and I talk about this a lot especially with the eights. And here we have an Eight of Swords and an Eight of Wands. I feel like you love so many things, that you're somebody with a million interests, right? How are you going to choose one? You know, maybe I don't know if you have gone to university, or if you're going to be going to university, or if you remember those days when you had to kind of decide on a career or a course of study. For me, I always say, this is me at the end of the day. Not lately, because we've been pretty sick here in the Dove and Serpent household. And on that note, I want to thank everybody for your warm wishes, your thoughts, your prayers. I really do feel that healing light around us, and it really is helping. I appreciate all of that from you. I do. This is me at the end of the day, feeling like, okay, I got like a half an hour, I can read a book, right? What book am I going to read? Well, I have so many books that I haven't read yet. I'm interested in so many things. How do I pick, right? And so I might pick up one book and be like, oh, okay, I really want to study this thing about, it's like a layperson's guide to quantum mechanics, right? Oh, I really want to read that book, or the Tao of Physics or something, or the Dancing Wu-Li Masters. And I'll pick up the book, I'll read a couple of pages and be like, gosh, but now reading these few lines here really make me think of Castaneda. So now I want to go pick up a Castaneda book and I want to go through that. And then I pick that book up, I read a few lines and I think, gosh, now I really want to study, mythology. So I'll go pull out one of my mythology books. Before I know it, I've done that a dozen times and my half an hour's up. It's time for me to go to bed, right? So I've accomplished nothing, right? But I've been spinning my wheels all evening trying to find a book and having maybe read a couple lines from this one, a couple lines from this one. And I also use the analogy of trying to pick a major at university, right? I mean, that's one of my biggest things, is trying to narrow down, out of all the things that I love and that I have an interest in, how do I narrow it down and pick one? Well, what I'm seeing here is that we are kind of picking the one that's got the earth energy on it. Because, I look at my life and I think, gosh, I'm so interested in cooking and gastronomy, and I really would love to be a chef and do all that. But then I think, okay, I'm going to be on my feet like 12 or 20 hours a day, right? 7 days a week. I'm not getting any younger, that's for sure. And so I think that's really not a practical thing for me to do, So the practicality of it, the probability that I would actually enjoy something like, maybe it's just something I enjoy studying and learning about and doing as a hobby, but maybe not as my central focus in life. So we've got this 9 of Pentacles here. And with all these interests that you have, we need a few things. Now, you're going to press play on one of your dreams, right? You have a lot of dreams. 8 of Wands. You've got a lot of things you want to do. Okay? We're having a problem deciding because, well, you love a lot of things and you have a natural curiosity about a lot of things, and you have this kind of passionate desire to immerse yourself in a great many things. But we have to look at the 9 because we have the purity. We have really the potential in the heart and the mind that any one of these options is going to be fabulous, right? So with the 9 of Pentacles, we're choosing the one that we can actually kind of see how it's going to work. We can see the machinery working of it, right? I can see how this is going to come together, and it's actually something, there's a practical basis for me choosing this, right? When we have a million different things that we love, maybe we have to narrow it down by what do I think I can actually literally, make some progress toward or accomplish in my life right now. Because what we've got, of course, is heart and mind and body, right? We've got the water, the air, and we've got the earth. We've got the practical side of things. And I think that's a big factor, is what we feel is a practical goal for us to have right now. Because again, I feel like you've got a lot of dreams, right? A lot of things that you're passionate about, a lot of things that you want to do. We have to pick the one maybe that makes the most sense, given the time and place in which we find ourselves in this life right now. Okay, what's going to make the most sense? In a kind of a practical way, right? Because the 8 of Swords here is really is kind of us saying, well, every single one of these makes sense, right? So maybe we have to defer to the earth energy and just say, okay, well, what out of all these millions of things that I love, what's the most practical, right? Or which is the one that's going to have the most bang for the buck too, right? Let's select the mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. This is a random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot. This is a factor infinite and unknown. We're going to set it down over here. We'll put our very own Kelly Kapoor right on top. We're not going to look at that card until the very end, but it will tie everything together and it will give us our confirmation at the end of the reading. If at any point during this program you feel like you know what that card is, I want you to put your guess or your prediction down in the comments. All right. Now let's take let's take another look around. Our major arcana, we have active, we have passive, and we have the balance between the two. So this is really, this is a formula, right? That says we're going to press play on one of our dreams, right? But the Eight of Swords is asking us which one. Well, we want to pick the dream that is going to give us the most return on our investment. Okay, given the amount of time. Now, this isn't a financial thing, but that's kind of where my mind goes. Like, that's, what they kind of tell you. Well, you have to figure out how old you are and when you want to retire, and that'll determine your level of risk and what stocks you pick and all this sort of stuff, right? I try to get into that. It confuses the heck out of me. I don't know what I'm doing with that stuff. But as far as the energy goes, it makes more sense. We're putting our effort into something, and we know that we're getting a return. And especially the Empress card, because that's a card that says you're going to get out what you put in. Whatever you contribute to this thing, you're going to get a return on that. Okay? So this is really the active and the passive. We make effort in this situation, toward this goal, in this particular path. Let's say it's one of your dreams, right? That we're press and play on one of these dreams. We're doing the work. We're putting in our effort. And then we're getting a lot of return for it. So maybe that return is, maybe it's financial, but I think maybe it's a lot of satisfaction, right? It's it's an increase of like understanding, or it's increasing your enjoyment of life, increasing the quality of life, right? So depending on where we are in our life, is going to help us to determine which path we should take right now at this time, if that makes sense. So we're putting an effort into one of these paths, and we want to kind of get the most out of it, the most return for the least amount of effort, so to speak. And again, with the earth energy here, it could be something financial. It could be something that really is, we could be talking about a hobby or an avocation. We could be talking about literally a course in college or university, maybe a trade school. Maybe you want to start a business. We have to figure out kind of what our timeline is. How long do we see this really taking place, and how long do I really feel like I can put in as much effort as I really, as I want to? In a very practical, we may have this feeling that I can do this all day, all night, for 100 years, but that's not really practical. So we have to take this, the only earth energy we have here, and say, what realistically, what do we see ourselves doing? Can I maybe put in a couple hours a week into this? For a few years, is that something that I have available? What is your available, time and energy in this situation? Because it is something that we're putting in effort, and then we step back and we let something develop, right? So it's if it's a garden, right? Well, we're gonna prepare the soil, we're gonna plant, we're gonna do a little bit of water, and then we step back. We let nature take its course. We let the Empress do its thing, right? So we've got that formula, and really it's about the balance of that, the balance between our effort, our striving, and then our yielding, or even the yield of it, right? So how much time and energy and how much effort we put into something versus what we're getting out of it. Is this something that's not going to pay off for 10 years? Maybe we're thinking of something else that it's going to be a little bit more expedient, right? A little bit more expedited. So anyway, that's the major arcana. Then of course we have our good fire energy. Here we have these 3 fire cards, and they're all really centered around the Emperor, which is right in the middle, right? This is us really having to hit the play button and start working on something. Having that executive function that just says, I'm starting this path. I've reasoned it out enough, and I've kind of looked at the practical side of things, and I'm doing it. I'm starting today. If this is the garden, if this is your new subject that you want to study, if this is whatever that dream is, right? This is us kind of beginning it, executing the plan. And of course, we have our water energy back here. This is something that it's meaningful to you, and it has to be. And this is kind of part of that, the satisfaction that goes with that Empress energy, that we have to know that this is going to feel good. We have to know that this is going to give us some sort of a fulfillment, some sort of satisfaction. It's going to increase the quality of our life, not make our life worse, right? Obviously. So we have that kind of pure heart about things, that this is just, it's going to be a source of enjoyment, even though we know there's going to be struggle. 5 of Wands here in the position of your environment. It's going to be work, right? But we know in our hearts that, you know, I have a pure heart about this. Like, I know that this is what I want to be doing, even though I know it's going to be a struggle. It's, let's say, going to the gym or something, right? How do we decide what exercises to do? You know, there's all sorts of different ways to exercise our bodies. Well, it depends on how much time you have, right? And we know that it's going to be a lot of work. And now the degree of intensity, maybe you only have 1 day a week that you can go to the gym. Well, that 1 day a week is going to be the intense workout of a lifetime, and it's only going to happen once a week, right? Or this might be, well, I can go every day, but I only have 5 minutes. Okay, well then I'll, you know, it changes the plan, is what I'm saying. So there's a different degree of intensity, but it's going to be work. And we know this work is in service of something greater, right? Something that really, that we cherish, something that is satisfying to us. It has to be something we love, right? And I think that's why it feels like we're starting the work on one of our dreams right now. I feel like this is really us like press and play on one of these dreams, right? We got to get out of the 8s. though. We have to kind of pick one and hit play. And this is that play button, okay? And with the Ace of Swords, once we do that, once we kind of get out of this overthinking, overanalyzing, and just kind of see like, you know what, I really love this one particular thing. I've got enough time in my life, enough room, enough space where I can devote so many hours to it. I'm ready for what's going to be involved. I know what it's going to require of me. We make that decision, and then there's peace, right? There's clarity. It's a clear head. We're getting out of the confusion and the analysis of the 8s here, right? So we've got that water energy, we've got the air energy that we know we have to go from this very tangled up 8 of Swords to the clarity of an Ace. Okay, and then we've got just a little bit of the earth energy, and I think the earth energy really is you getting to work and doing it in a very practical way. Let's say it's some sort of a martial art, right? I've been considering starting a martial art like jiu-jitsu or something like that, but then I'm kind of looking at all of these different martial arts and thinking, well, maybe given my age, given my level of fitness, given my my schedule and how many hours in a week I think I can devote to something like this, maybe jiu-jitsu is not really the most practical choice, right? Maybe something like judo or karate or something else is going to be kind of more suitable to where I'm at in my life right now, right? And that's what I mean. We have to take these kinds of things into consideration. And it has to be something that we can work, right? We have these big lofty goals, and I'm not saying to not aspire to these big lofty goals, but we don't want to start something and we don't want to bite off more than we can chew. Because we have these huge, unbelievably great goals, and maybe we didn't put enough thought into it, and we sign up for the class, and we go there for one day, and we just think, I can't do this anymore. You know, it's too intense for our level right now, or it's going to require too much from me. It's going to ask of me more than I can actually offer right now. Very practical card, the 9 of Pentacles, right? But we want to see the progress. Doesn't mean that you can't have these great goals, but maybe we've got to think in chunks. Maybe we've got to work our way up to something, but we start on something so that we can get moving, right? You have this this desire for physical fitness. You don't just right away, day one, go sign up for a Spartan race and go show up at the starting line at a Spartan race. You're going to get your butt kicked, right? So maybe we just say, okay, well, that's my big goal, but maybe in a more practical way, I've got to start with, like, I got to just maybe start jogging a little bit, you know, get my cardiovascular stuff going again. We think incrementally instead of thinking just one huge leap and suddenly I'm at the Spartan race. Or suddenly, you know, I'm a brown belt in jiu-jitsu or something. And we've got to start. We've got to start a little bit smaller than that. But the point is that we have to start. We have to hit that play button. We have to do it. We have to be willing to put in the effort. Here's that 5 of Wands. We have to strive for something. But just like any kind of any kind of progress that we want to make. And see, the Nine of Pentacles is progress. The Nine of Pentacles is us seeing the difference over time. We're seeing our muscles grow. I'm seeing that I'm no longer huffing and puffing, going up and down the stairs or something, right? We're seeing the change. This is the visible signs of progress, right? And that's what we want, because that's motivating. And we know that the formula is the right balance between striving and yielding, assertiveness and kind of allowing things to develop in response to our energy. So we've got that Five of Wands. We know that it's going to require, we know that we're going to burn some calories doing it, right? We know it's going to be work. And it doesn't matter how old you are. Maybe you're retired, maybe you are going to university or something. The work that I talk about on this channel is whatever we're burning calories doing, right? Whatever we're moving our body with during the days or nights or whatever, on a relatively regular basis, you know. That's our work, whether it pays us or not, right? Whether we're working for somebody else or we're just doing our own thing by ourselves in our house, being creative, making things, tinkering with things, I don't know, whatever we do, right? That's our work. And I think the Five of Wands is, it's right next to this Nine, right? So we have to know that what we get out of this situation is in some proportion to the effort that we put in. Now, of course, we want to find that thing, depending on how old you are and how much time you have in your life. You want to find that thing that's going to give you the most return for the smallest amount of effort. Not because we're lazy, right? No, because we're smart. Because we know that, let's say I've got an hour a week to devote to something. Well, I want that hour every week to really do the most, right? I want to maximize that hour every week. Maybe an hour a week isn't enough for someone like me to, become an astrophysicist or something. Maybe an hour a week just wouldn't cut it. Or it would if I had a million years, you know. So we think of something that's going to have the most satisfaction for that particular chunk of time that we can devote to it. Okay. Excuse me, sorry about that. And the Empress is really here. This is in the position of the difficulty here. And I think that's part of the issue that you might have, Capricorn, because of the nature of your zodiac sign, that cardinal earth energy, that you might have a difficulty right now yielding and watching something grow, right? Because, you know, if we want to maximize that hour a week that we have, we're going to just put more and more and more effort into it. We're going to try to cram in as much as we can in that hour. But remember, it has to be a balance between striving and yielding. I think yielding is your difficulty, right? You like to strive, you like to find the mountain, you like to climb up that mountain at full speed. Sometimes we have to stop and rest, you know. You can't just go hard in the gym every single day. You have to have those rest days, you know. You have to kind of maybe do one day where you're just doing some light aerobics or treadmill or just going for a walk or something, right? We have to learn how to use the knob on the stove. Not everything needs to be cranked up to a 10, right? And so it's really, I think, we feel like if a little bit is good, then a lot is going to be even better, right? Now, if I put in this much effort and I got this kind of satisfaction out of it, well, what if I put in a huge amount of effort? I should get back a huger amount of satisfaction, but it doesn't work that way. There's diminishing returns, right? So I think that's why the Empress is in that position. And it really is part of this formula of just knowing the balance, knowing the right proportion of putting in work and getting the satisfaction from that work, right? And that really is your victory. That's your Six of Wands here at the end. Really understanding the formula of your effort here. And we're hit and play on one of our dreams. And I think we're really going to find a deep satisfaction in this. And it's really going to be a way for you to fulfill one of these latent parts of yourself, right? I don't think you're making a big change, like a big career change. Maybe it is. Maybe it involves that, you know, as part of the process. But I feel like there's something, you know, there's a lot of things that you've always wanted to do. I think right now we're just about to pick one that makes the most sense? Let's look at the mystery card. I think maybe it'll be another, well, I was going to say an Ace of Cups, but I think maybe it'll be a Nine of Cups, right? That we've pressed play on one of these dreams, we're seeing the progress, and we're getting kind of that emotional progress too with the Nine of Cups, right? We really feel like we're doing it, we're living it, and it is kind of, it's everything that we thought it would be, right? What I don't want to see is any more air cards, because then I feel like we're going to be in the middle of this activity and we're going to start to think, oh, maybe I should have picked something else, right? Let's see. Oh, Six of Pentacles. This is good. Six of Wands, Six of Pentacles, and this is really the state of success, right? It's victory and success. It's like kind of like you've figured out how to work the stock market here. You know, you've figured out the right proportion of risk versus reward, and it really is paying off. We've got that fire to earth, spiritual, electrical circuit of manifestation. So I feel like you're finding the exact right mixture of effort, of striving, of assertiveness, and of yielding, of receiving, right? Of putting our energy into something and then stepping back and letting it respond and letting it grow. Yeah. Very, very good. I love that. We're going to do an extended reading too. If you want to stick around, there's a link up top. There's one down below. New readings for Capricorn every Thursday and Sunday, 6 a.m. Chicago time. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. It is totally free. It doesn't cost you anything. Leave a comment. Let me know where in the world you're watching from. I want you to know that you're the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you. And we're all in this together.